So thank you, Vinnie, for having me to talk about Zoho One. My name's Taylor Backman. As you know, I'm a senior evangelist at Zoho, and I'll be taking you through this Zoho One release that we're doing on October 19th. So for this release, before we kind of get into that, we can talk about Zoho very quickly. Zoho is doing well. We have now over 10,000 employees, or 500,000 customers, and over 70 million users. So things have been humming along for us. With the release, we're talking about Zoho One, which when we brought this to the market in 2017, we introduced this concept called the operating system for business. And since then, we've noticed that quite a few other companies, including software vendors that don't compete with us or anything, they're also wanting to be operating systems for the work that they're doing. So we think that's a very good sign, and we think that that's definitely the right direction that software vendors should be going in when approaching these really difficult challenges today. So when we think about the operating system, we think about unification, and this unification has to happen at every level of the technology stack, and it's really been appreciated by our customers. This is also what's really driving the growth of the product as well. Zoho One now has over 40,000 customers. It's the most popular suite in the Zoho offering, and the growth has been pretty strong. 2021 here is just a partial number, of course. The largest customer on Zoho One has 32,000 employees. So we think that shows a lot of upmarket potential. And when we look at the distribution of customers, we see a lot of different industries are using this. We're very strong in the services side, but as we read the graph clockwise, we see like real estate, retail, banking, financial services, manufacturing, and these segments are continuing to grow.
We have customers. What is the average? You said 32,000 is the biggest customer. What is the average customer?
I don't have that number off the top of my head here, and it depends on the different regions and everything as well. So, but in terms of customers spread geographically, we have a lot of customers around the world. Some of our most important markets are the United States, the UK, India, Australia. So we're seeing good growth in those regions. The average number of applications that have been enabled is 21, and that is out of 45 applications. So that average number is also increasing as well. So we think that that's a very good sign. In terms of the most commonly used applications, this is a word cloud that kind of helps give us a sense of that. CRM, Analytics, which is our BI tool, and Click, our team communication platform. These are the three most commonly used applications across our most important markets. And Click actually, through the pandemic, has really risen and solidified itself as that in that third place. So what we see ultimately is a good combination of front office, back office collaboration, and BI applications and functionality being used by the customers. When we look at how customers end up using Zoho One and the path they take, there's a lot of different paths. And again, this really depends on size of the customer, geography, depends on the industry they're in, different challenges they're facing. So for small business customers, we find that a lot of them come directly to Zoho One and immediately start transforming their business. For mid-sized to large customers, we find, again, several different paths. This is one that presents a very linear story where there's the usage of a single application. They add multiple applications. They then go to a suite like CRM Plus, which is our customer engagement platform, and then they move into Zoho One. So with that, since we have so many applications in the Zoho offering, that really gives 50 different entry points and 50 different paths forward that obviously can grow exponentially depending on the combinations that then get used. We also see customers will start with multiple apps right out of the gate, or they'll start with a single app and then they'll move to Zoho One. A lot of times this is a way larger customers will start with us because they have a particular need, they have a sophisticated deployment, so they want to make sure that we can do the job for them. And as they see that we can do the job, they're then willing to add additional functionality, and then they find themselves moving towards Zoho One. Sometimes customers also just have very complex requirements that one application doesn't solve. So even if they're primarily using one app, They might be using 2 or 3 other applications in a more limited way, and then that starts them really with multiple applications with us. And then they find over time, by expanding the usage and using Zoho for new processes, that Zoho One starts making more sense. One customer that we can talk about here is called Arctic Spas. They are a company that manufactures, sells, and supports high-end spas out of Canada. They've been in business a long time, over 350 employees. They don't have a sales team. They sell through a number of dealerships. And it's worth mentioning that through the pandemic, their business has actually doubled, which I guess makes sense, because if you can't go anywhere, you might as well get a hot tub, right? So they have that story of, you know, starting with CRM, moving to CRM Plus, and then a year after Zoho One came out, they moved that. Since then, they've adopted, you know, a number of Zoho applications. Originally, they were a Salesforce customer when they migrated over to CRM. But then after moving into Zoho One, you know, they've added all of these service applications. They've added the marketing applications for, you know, email marketing, social, website optimization. They've extended Zoho by integrating a Twilio integration to do SMS messaging with customers around marketing and sales functions. They're using collaboration apps. One app in particular, Click, the team communication platform, they're using channels, chat channels with each of their dealerships. So that way they have a much closer line of communication with each of those dealerships, can figure out what's going on at those dealerships. And if there's obstacles, they're able then to figure them out there. And if there's any interesting solutions that they come up with, they can push all that information to all the other channels, to all the other dealers as well. So this has become really a sales enablement tool for them. As we look into like custom application development, they're using Creator, our low-code application development platform, to build things like custom commission calculation apps. They're using Zoho Flow, which is our integration platform that's kind of like Zapier, to create new integrations within Zoho, but then also third-party integrations as well. And of course, all of their business data they're bringing into analytics and visualizing it so they can get the insights out of it. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we could talk about with Arctic Spas. I'll just draw our attention to the solutions and outcomes section here, point 2. As I mentioned, they don't have a sales team, so lead distribution is very important. They've automated that process, saving themselves 40 hours a week, giving an increase of up to 480 grand in revenue just from that. They've increased from getting a few hundred leads to thousands a week, with a 15% increase in lead conversion, deal closure rate. So a lot of great success, and we're very happy to see that. And when we talk to them, we see that, you know, one of the most important things for them are all of the customization options that Zoho One offers, that allows them to come up with the way they want the process to be, and then implement that in the product without compromising on that vision. So we're very excited to see that, and we expect, you know, their usage to continue to grow. Another customer we can talk about is Counterculture Coffee. They're a specialty coffee roaster out of North Carolina. They've been in business a long time, have over 120 employees, with tasting centers in 13 cities. They sell through stores and online as well. They started with CRM, and then they moved to Zoho One last year. And since then, they've been expanding their usage. They've added the help desk. They've added email campaigns. They've added forms. One of the things I think that's really interesting, though, is that they are a Google shop. And so they are using those Google collaboration products, and we've been able to integrate those very effectively into Zoho One, so we don't force a move there. Similarly, they're using NetSuite as their ERP system, and that's something they want to keep using. So again, we've been able to integrate our front office tools into that system as well. All of that, of course, is then being pulled. All of the data that they have is then being pulled into analytics so that they can do the business intelligence and visualize all that data and all that good stuff. There is more we can talk about with them, of course, like the previous example. I'll just point out, you know, that at this point, they've reported to us a 15% improvement in productivity. We're looking to understand more specifically where that productivity is happening, but this is a number they've reported to us, which we're very glad to see. And something else they've been talking to us about is really what they see the value of Zoho being. As they expand their usage, they're seeing the value of having the product being reinforced, and it's making their jobs easier. And as that's happening, people in the company notice that and then want to use more Zoho. So it's just this virtuous circle here. And we think this is very common in a lot of organizations that are expanding their usage of Zoho One, that this is kind of the engine that keeps propelling that forward. So ultimately, we're talking about a unified approach to the operating system, which is a approach that unifies the business that is using it. And we think this is the next step beyond just simply integrating all of the different apps. As we provide that unified operating system, we're able to really bring together the organization in a new way. And we think that's where the paradigm is kind of going forward. To be able to do this, it means having control over the technology stack and then being able to optimize and unify every piece of it. So starting on the level of infrastructure, we're unifying our infrastructure. We take care of all of these different aspects, building in-house, tight-knit, scalable infrastructure to power all of the software that we offer. As we move up the stack, we offer unified storage. We have custom databases. We've unified those databases. We have a unified data model that we operate on. And that's a very important part of being able to deliver the operating system. As we move up the stack, we have what we call our services. And services are really these long-term R&D projects that allow us to make major steps in areas like AI, analytics, enterprise search, et cetera. And as we're able to develop those capabilities, they become services that are leveraged by the platform and really bring a lot of value to other things that we're doing. And those other things include all of the different applications that we offer that meet needs and can handle processes across all of the different business functions. Those applications are also then brought into platforms that focus on specific areas of the organization for better experiences there. So CX, EX, we're working on an ERP system. Simultaneously, there is a collaboration layer that underlines all of that. And there's also a customization layer that underlines all of that. So collaboration and making these things very specific to the organization that's using them is all very possible. This
the bottom of the layer is mostly open source. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do use a lot of open source technology, but we've been doing this for so long that we've really changed these frameworks and technologies in substantial ways because of all of the work that we've done on them. So we've really built on top of it for quite a long time. And finally, when we look at how all of this technology comes together, we end up with the unified operating system. And this inherits all of the underlying work that's been done and makes Zoho One the result of a completely, massive attempt to unify an entire technology stack, creating this vertically integrated, privacy-conscious product. So that is Zoho One and the way that we're approaching the operating system for business today.